for example, using the reasoning I was referring to, if a car ran over a squirrel and destroyed like half of its body, and let's say, and I'm pretty sure I could find out by just calling a vet and asking, but let's say we know that squirrel cannot survive. There's no way for it to survive, but it's alive enough for, I don't know, I'd guess an hour maybe or less, flopping around, just suffering and in pain. And I feel like if we knew that, like a vet was going to say, this cannot live even with help, let alone leaving it to nature. I don't know. I think the more compassionate thing to do would be to, as quickly as possible, take it out of its misery.
So like what you're trying to do is like resolve the situation. So for if I believe if someone causes damage, it's their responsibility to fix it. But when you're killing an animal, you're kind of shooing the problem away by saying, well, it's run over. We don't like this problem, instead of trying to fix the animal, take out the road, everything. You're saying, well, let's get rid of the animal. Let's not
Yeah.
have it in our minds the problem anymore. You see what
Well,
I'm saying?
yes and no. I mean, I agree with you looking at the issues like, okay, what's the problem? We got a road, we got cars, we have the animals don't consent to being hit and not understanding cars. So yes, we could figure out ways to make our roads not have animals cross them. I'm all about that. But what I'm saying is separate from that, because that would have to take place afterwards. I'm just saying if we know from all the professionals in the world, say if a squirrel's half of its body is ran over, but it's still alive, flopping around. They can recognize its suffering and that there's no way to come back from that. Let's just say I was the one to have ran it over initially.
Yeah, let's just do that.
Because the other person's not there for the
Yeah.
responsibility to be on them. So if you're saying the responsibility is on me to fix the issue, there's no issue to fix, but there is a possibility of taking it out of its misery versus letting it suffer for its last half hour to an hour of life.
Well, it's like you're not thinking about how you can fix the life. You're not even taking into consideration the animal, what it wants,
So what are your
If it's
thoughts?
looking at you and saying, I'm miserable
Mhm.
and I don't want to have this misery anymore, like the first thing you got to do is think, like, how can I make this animal's life first better and try to get it to live? Because you took its life away from it. It's like you got to give that life back that you
But
took.
how do you do
You
that
know what
though?
I'm saying? That's like the
I
first
don't.
part.
I do not know what you're saying.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, like, say you steal something from
No, 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 no.
someone,
I don't need a
you don't
hypothetical.
like kill
No,
them,
I I'm saying what
So it's like you
I know.
stole that life from the animal.
I
So
know. So
it's like you
I'm
got to
saying what
give
do
it
you?
back
I
to
hear
the
that.
animal. Go ahead.
Yeah, I hear that part. I'm wondering what that is that you're saying. How do you do that?
You try to like fix that half of that body that you missed, and if not, you got to give it something to it that you took from it. Like if you cannot like fix it, replace it or something,
What
give
do you
it
mean?
something that's an equivalent.
Like
Like
what?
say I like steal $1 from someone and I don't have $1 to give them back because I spent it.
Yeah, you can
Maybe
give
I
them
have
anything.
something that's worth $1 to them
Yep,
instead, you know?
100%. So, but we're talking about a squirrel that is going to die in a half hour to an hour. Half of its body is squished. What can you give to it?
Well, that's something you got to think about. Like
Yeah,
because
I'm
it's you,
ready.
you got to think, what did you take from it? What part of you can you give to it to make it be able to have
But yeah, but we know what I would do. I would put it out of
a
its
resolve.
misery. I'm
But the
wondering
thing
what
is,
you would do. What would you do?
so that's what I'm saying. Like, wait, hold on. What I'm saying is, when you take from something, what your solution is to take more from it, so that
But I
now
want my
it has not only half a life done, it has the other half
I want
taken
my
from it too.
I want what I would do to be whatever you're going to say you would do if I find it reasonable. I'm guessing
So, like,
I won't
let
find
me
it
just
reasonable.
say it's me. I ran
Mhm,
it over half.
mhm.
Like, the first thing I'm going to do is look at the animal and see what does it want. Like if it says I'm suffering, help me out, or it says I'm suffering, I don't want help, I just want this to be over with, I'm
Do
going
you,
to go
do
based
you,
off of
I'm
what
going to
the
pause you real
animal
quick.
first.
I'm going to pause you real quick. Do you think most people could look at an animal flopping around and look at its eyes and get a vibe for what that animal's saying?
I mean, if animals are able to do that with us, because they say that dogs are able to recognize and pick up on cues of what humans do, I believe that we do are able to pick up on cues. Like
Okay.
we have that intuition. It's just we don't utilize it because we're just thinking in our heads, what do we want to do, rather than like interacting with the environment, like the situation, because you created a situation. Now you know,
Okay.
if you don't think about it,
Okay,
you're
go
not
on.
seeing it.
Okay, I just wanted to check. Okay, so I want to
Yeah.
hear what you would do
So
based
I
on
need to
that.
first
Yeah.
immerse myself in the environment and feel what's going on and see it, because it's now real. Like it's now something. It's like if I can't connect with it, and like disconnecting from it is just making decisions based off of what you see. It's not
Hmm.
connection. So
Yep.
connecting to it is like seeing how bad the situation really is,
Hmm.
to see like how much damage you did.
Hmm. Yep.
And so
But we
that's
already
where
know
that
all that.
second
So yeah. So what do you
second
do?
step is. So say I take half of that squirrel's life. I'm
Hmm.
going to try to make up for it. Like say it has a family, then maybe I'd have to give back to that family something that it's missing, which is that squirrel, you know, that it loses if I really can't save it. You know, whatever I take away from it, if say it's able to come back to life even though it's half run over,
Hmm.
then that's the amount I would owe it, is that time of recovery. If it
Yeah.
if its life is done, that's
Mhm.
how much I owe the situation. Maybe not like not only to the squirrel, but everything else there too. So I'd have to give back to the situation to make
So
up
what do
for
you
my
get?
wrongdoing.
What are you giving
You know,
back?
it depends on the situation, but say with the squirrel,
We
as I
yeah.
said, I would have to give back the loss of the squirrel's life to maybe its family, or the loss to the environment of the where the squirrel was. Like give back something.
What does that
You
mean?
see what
What
I'm
does that
saying?
mean? I don't. What does that mean? What are
Hmm?
you giving? What do you? I do not see what you're saying. What are you giving back?
I'm giving back the value of the amount of loss of that animal
Yeah. What is
to
that?
that place. It depends on like the proportion of the animal's worth to the environment. Like say it was invasive. Well, now
Hmm.
I did it the environment service by, you know, it's life ending.
Okay.
Um,
So you wouldn't be
so
giving
then,
anything back
if
in that
anything, I
case.
gave to the environment rather than took from it.
Yeah.
So if anything, the environment owes me, you know. So I base it off of proportion.
Yep.
But in
Okay.
that way, like it doesn't mean I don't owe the animal its life, you know, because I took from it. But to the environment, I benefited it. So now it's its turn, falls in its court.
Hmm. Do you?
So it
Well. Here's the thing. Question. Sorry to cut you off, but like,
that's okay.
but so okay. So we got two different cases, and let's say
Yeah.
you run the squirrel over, and then you can't bring it back. It's half of its body's gone, and then you let it suffer and die for half hour to an hour. And then we got a separate situation that's identical where I run the squirrel over and half of its body can't bring it back. And then I put it out of its misery and kill it. So the question is, if me and you each have to give back value to the land or other squirrels or whatever the things you were saying, would I have to give less value back because I helped it not be in misery? So you would have to give maybe 100%, but I would give 90% of value.
Like if I ran the half over and you ran the other half over,
Yeah,
like
if your
you took
final,
its life out, you
mhm.
know, and did you even consult the animal? So if you don't consult the animal, then you took out half of its life. Maybe it's not like, maybe it's suffering, you know.
Mhm.
So it's not that much of a value of its life to itself. It would die anyway. But
Mhm.
cutting it short, now you have that half hour that you took from its life that it was
Oh,
living.
oh, so I would owe it. I would owe more value than you'd owe.
No less. You would only own that, like, say, half hour. But for me, I took it out its life sooner, so I owe it way more than you do. You know what I'm saying?
You took it out
Because I
sooner. What
ended.
do you mean?
If I run it half over and it only has a half hour left to live
Huh?
versus the amount of life it could have lived altogether,
No, we
then
both did that though. So the only difference between what we both did, we both ran it over, but you're choosing to let it suffer for a half hour, and I'm choosing to take it out of its misery. Did which element caused more harm, my action or your action?
yeah, it was my action because I was the one that caused it to have its life cut short.
No, I
You
did the
know what
same.
I'm saying?
No, I think you might not be
Because
understanding what
the
I'm
thing is,
saying.
like, for you, like, you would have, if you weren't there, then it would just die in a half hour.
Uh-huh.
So you're just taking out that half hour. But me, it could have lived maybe another few years, but made it cut short.
No, in mine,
What
I
potential?
no, in my hypothetical, I ran it over too.
Oh, okay.
So we
Yeah, but
both
you ran it over after me.
no, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I must have
Separately,
it mixed up.
it's all right. Separately on two streets. I'm on Elm Street and you're on MLK. Um,
Okay.
and you run over a squirrel and I run over a squirrel. We both separately on two different streets, two different squirrels. We both run over
Okay.
half of its body. It's
Mm-hmm.
suffering. And any reasoning we could do in this world where we talk to veterinarians, talk to everybody, that squirrel cannot come back. It can either suffer for a half hour or you can put it out of its misery. If I put my squirrel out of its misery, and then let's say I owe a certain amount of value back to that area or whatever you're
Mm-hmm.
saying, and then you let yours suffer and then yours dies, and then you owe a certain amount of value back to that area, which one out of me and you owes more value if you intentionally let it suffer with the knowledge we have with our reasoning?
Well, for me, like, I actually would, in those last half hours, like, when someone's dying on their deathbed, like, they whisper something to you at the very end, like, about something. So I would try to listen to it first, like, what was going on, like, maybe it was trying to reach for some nut or something to give to their family. So I'd try to, like, see what they, need first. So maybe that provides way more value and restoration than yours does.
Okay. Yeah, maybe.
So that's why I'm saying, like, it depends. So based off of how much destruction that is caused. Wait, hold on a second. Hold on. Okay. Based off of how much destruction is caused versus how much that you restored of it is how much you owe that situation to the squirrel, to
Hmm.
the environment, to everything impacted by it.